Today we are going to be learning about how to do ratios. First, we must define what a ratio is. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. There are three ways to write ratios. The first way is x to y. The second way is x semicolon y. And the third way, which we would prefer, is x over y. Now let's do an example. The Johnson County Humane Society has 14 dogs and 28 cats. What is the ratio of cats to dogs? When doing ratios, you must always write the ratio or fraction in simplest form, or SF. In this ratio, it is cats to dogs. So you would do the number of cats over the number of dogs. So it would be cats over dogs. So the ratio would end up being the number of cats, which is 28, over the number of dogs, which is 14. You could divide 28 and 14 by 7, or which would take a much longer time, or you could divide it and make it faster. You could divide both by 14. If you were to divide 28 over 14 by 7, it would be a much longer process than dividing by 14. You would divide 28 divided by 7, which is equal to 4, and 14 divided by 7, which is equal to 2. And then you would have to divide 4 by 2 and divide 2 by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. But if you're to divide 28 over 14 by 14, then it would be a much faster process than divided by 7. So you would divide 28 by 14 and 14 by 14, which would equal 28 divided by 14, 2, and 14 divided by 14, 1. The answer to this example of the ratio of cats to dogs is 2 over 1. Now you may be wondering why it isn't 2, because normally 2 over 1 would equal 2. But in this case, it's not correct. Because it is a ratio, it would always be 2 over 1. And 2 over 1 would never equal 2. This is the same with any ratio that you come to. With any ratio as a denominator of 1, if it's x over 1, which x is standing in for another number, is never equal to x. So is 4 over 1, it would not be 4. So most people think that it would be equal 4. That is not correct. It is always x over 1. Now for example number 2. She scored 12 out of 18 baskets. What is the ratio of made baskets to total baskets? So right now we are going to be reviewing the steps to this. There are 2 steps and there's an optional third step. The first step is to write your ratio as a fraction. So turn a ratio into a fraction. Now, the second step is to divide your ratio and or simplify your ratio to simplest form. Now this really helps if you go with the greatest common factor of both numbers, and you don't have to do as much dividing as if you went with a smaller number. So, on this example, you would make the ratio into a fraction. So, since the ratio we want to make is made baskets to total baskets, you would have the number of baskets that she made, which was 12, and the number of total baskets that she made, which was 18. So she made 12 baskets, and she took 18 shots. And so your fraction would be 12, which is her number of made baskets, over 18, which is the number of total shots that she took. You would then divide this. Well, right now it is in a fraction, and so you have done the first step. The second step is to divide / simplify your fraction into simplest form. And so your fraction right now is 12 over 18. So you can divide both 12 and 18 by their greatest common factor, which is 6. So it would be 12 divided by 6 and 18 divided by 6. This would equal 12 divided by 6, 2, and 18 divided by 6, 3. So that makes the answer be 2/3. Now, the next step is optional, which we'll get to in a second. So this shows how many baskets she made over how many baskets she took. Okay, now this would make sure that the number of made baskets out of total baskets was 2/3. So that is the ratio of her shooting. Now onto the third step. The third step is to explain your ratio in a sentence, which this is an optional step. So, in a case it would be like, you'd write you would say like out of or to. And so it was like, if she had made 6 baskets out of 13 baskets, then you would write, for every 13 baskets she shot, she made 6 baskets, which is not exactly very good. But for every 3 shots that this girl took and shot, she would end up making 2 shots. So the fraction is 2 over 3. Now, the color yellow I'm using will represent the number of shots that she made. So 2 represents the number of shots that she made. And so I will soon dot that out in yellow. And the line means out of /2. So line is dotted with green and 2 is dotted with yellow. And then 3 will be dotted with orange. And 3 stands for total baskets.